My parents work, I mean, like night and day to provide for us. I was really young, but I do remember my mom getting her master's from a university in Alberta just so that she could, get into teaching. And now she's a prof at a college, like back in our hometown. She used to teach at Trent University. So I've seen, like, and she was still raising us, like with my dad, of course, and she was still working at the hospital, like as a nurse, doing the night shifts. I've seen her kind of
Wow.
balance it all. Yeah. And, when you're younger, you kind of just think, like, oh, whatever, like my mom's in school, she's working a job, like everybody kind of does this. But now looking back, like I'm in a professional program now, like you guys have said, and I cannot imagine having two kids and then also kind of working full time and like trying to balance a family and do everything. Like I look back and I always say, like, my parents are my heroes and my role models because, like, I wouldn't be where I am today without them. That just point blank period. Like I would not be the person that I am without them and without their pushing me for sure.
It's crazy to hear that because like you read online, like forums or just like statuses about, oh, like immigrants like are doing this, or like
Yeah.
they're just coming here for like free handouts, or
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean, like they're stealing our jobs and stuff like that,
Yeah.
like.
That
And to
was my
hear,
favorite.
but usually like when you actually like a lot, like these stories are like I'm not going to say everybody did what your mom did, because
For
like
sure. It's not the reality.
it's yeah, like, but a lot of immigrants work like way harder than, you know, the average Canadian, because
Mhm.
they gotta implement themselves into society and kind of
Mhm.
establish themselves as, yo, I'm here, like I'm contributing, like I'm here for the right reasons, like I did, you know what I mean? And I think
Mhm.
that gets, it's crazy to hear, because like that's actually insane, like what you just said, like,
Mhm.
raising kids, working as a nurse and doing her master's, like, yo, like that's the 1% or the 0.01%
Yeah,
of most
definitely.
people. And I liked what Tristan touched on, because we kind of talked about this the other day, is like the perception that, um, coming from a wealthier family, like, oh, things are easier than what I have, like but like, no, like there's the pressure, like that's another thing that kids, like, if you're coming from a family that you doesn't have that establishment in the professional world, like with parents and expectations and
Mhm.
pressures on being, just as good or more, like it's again, like people listening that might not come from the same family, that might look at kids like you when they're young and be like, oh, it's so easy, like they have so much money, like they can just do it, she doesn't have to do anything, like it's
Mhm.
easy. It's like, no, like you you don't have somebody telling you, like, if you're not a doctor, you're not a lawyer, you're like we wasted our time, like
Exactly.
why did I do my master's while I was raising you and working, you know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
So
Exactly.
people, there's that pressure that you talk about, is can be as equally pressuring as, trying to avoid, um, barriers growing up in a impoverished area. Like it's the
Mhm.
same. It's just a different perspective of looking at it. And I hope people
Mhm.
can, listening to what you said, like, yo, like it's not easy.
Right.
You might have, you might be able to like afford certain things that they can't, but you still have these pressures on you, like pushing
Mhm.
you, pushing you, pushing you, right?
Mhm.
Thanks for tuning in to TOTFC Podcast. If you liked it and you want to hear more, please share it with a friend, a family member, a teammate, or anybody. Like the video, consider subscribing to TOTFC Podcast.